Former special counsel Robert Hur will testify before the House Judiciary Committee. Could be interesting. Miranda Devine joins us now. Good morning to you, Miranda. What could we learn from today's testimony? What are you looking for?
Look, I think what we'll learn is that the outrage by Joe Biden towards Robert Hur was completely misplaced and probably some sort of sneaky diversion from the really sour things that were in Robert Hur's report about Joe Biden, about his lack of candor, about his fudging. We see the transcript now. I haven't read the whole thing, but what I've seen shows that he was filibustering, wasting time. You know, I don't know whether he was pretending to forget dates, but he was certainly being blurry. He knew that Hur and his team only had a limited amount of time to ask questions of the president, and he knew he was in hot water. So he managed to put on such a performance that Hur did let him off the hook, but Hur had to show his workings, as he said in his opening statement. He had to give a reason for why he was letting Joe Biden off the hook, and he did that. And then Joe Biden carried on when he'd been given this great gift, been given a favour that he wasn't being prosecuted for real wrongdoing when it came to classified documents.
Yeah, he just kept saying, I don't remember. I want to move on to this one, Miranda. Special Counsel David Weiss going after Hunter Biden's efforts to dismiss his tax charges in California. Look, you've been covering this from the very beginning. Where's this headed, and will Hunter Biden actually be held accountable?
Look, I mean, it certainly does seem that Weiss has turned around, and at least his prosecutors are playing tough in these dueling court filings. What really strikes me as interesting is that Hunter Biden and his lawyers are really playing hardball and putting up all sorts of fanciful theories that have been shot down as conspiracy theories in a house of cards by Weiss. But, you know, Hunter Biden's lawyer, Abby Lowell, is claiming these sort of Russian interference that's caused somehow his client to be charged. He's saying it's Donald Trump's fault, it's MAGA Republicans' fault. It's really kind of every single trope that you could imagine being shoved into this pie. And I think you'd only do that if you had in your back pocket Daddy's pardon power.
Yes, indeed. Very quickly, I wanted to get to this. You have a new op-ed out. You say that Joe Biden is as callous as it gets when it comes to Laken Riley. In what way, Miranda?
Well, look, first of all, he wasn't going to mention Laken Riley. Then he was kind of heckled into it by Marjorie Taylor Greene. And then when he did mention her, he got her name wrong, called her Laken Riley. And then he did say, yes, she was killed by an illegal, was his words. And of course, there was outrage from the left about that, from the Democratic Party. And so he then very quickly goes on MSNBC and basically expresses his regret and backs down from not about bringing in the illegal migrants, 8 million plus of them, that have caused mayhem and basically caused the death of Laken Riley. He didn't apologise for any of that, but what he was regretful about was using the incorrect term. He said it's undocumented is the real term. He should have remembered, actually, it's newcomer or neighbour is the new term for illegal alien.
Absolutely ridiculous, but we'll have to leave it on that note. Miranda Devine, thank you so much, as always.